No, Blonde was five, bro.
Okay, so Blonde was five.
All time.
So listen.
Y'all got it wrong.
This is my issue with Usher. This
Y'all
is my
got
issue
it
with
wrong.
Usher Confessions. How is Usher Confessions?
You got it wrong. Zane, you got it wrong.
And then Blonde can be top 5.
Yo, look, it's Rap Life Review. Low and Eddie is here, and the desk is out somewhere being amazing. And we are here to run down what happened in hip-hop.
Yes.
The albums, the talk, the rumors, all of it. First things first, I just want to say for the Drake fans out there, bro, I swear I come in here every week. I was not planning on talking about Drake or Kendrick.
What happened?
Drake went and put out a verse on Sexyy Red, more circulation around Drake's reference tracks and all that. And then in my comments, people are mad that like Drake's not higher on the 100 best.
So where do we start? Like what, the reference tracks, the Sexyy Red feature.
Listen,
Like,
the
what do you-
Sexyy Red record is it's just not good, bro.
It's bad.
It's just not good. And the BBL Drizzy thing I thought was, could have been creative, but I just think it just doesn't.
I mean, especially after everything that's happened over the last month or so. This is how you return. This is how you show face. It's like, again, we don't want to...
Even on the return, side note, Cole put out a verse on Cash Cobain shit.
And that was horrible.
Hold on. Are we done with the Drake on the Sexyy Red already?
Well, no, I was just using that as a thing to jump into the fact that on the return, since you said on the return, why you feel like I was trying to move past the Drake thing, man.
Nah, because it was two dudes saying it was terrible. I don't think it was terrible.
All right, go ahead.
Look, man, here's the thing, bro. Like, we've been waiting to see how, let's be clear, too. Drake has like certain obligations. Like we can act like, yo, man, you gotta kind of take some time off. You gotta regroup. We don't really understand the relationships with Sexyy Red. Like one of the biggest songs he had on the last joint was with Sexy. They might have had some like little thing like I need you to be on my project too.
No, they did 100%. No,
yeah,
100%. 100%. This was planned, pre-planned. But the BBL Drizzy dropping in that thing made it feel like, oh, okay, you're responding to what's going on out here.
Yeah. But think about this too. So Drake's been taking a lot of L's over the last few weeks. And one of the L's he was taking was, bro, I seen ASL remixes, I seen Spanish remixes, I seen jazz remixes of BBL Drizzy. I seen every version of BBL. I didn't know certain genres of music even existed until there was a BBL Drizzy reaction to it. Ever since he dropped that verse, I ain't heard not one BBL, like the joke was over. So say what you want. So you
saying he made sure to jump the shark with it so it would go away is what you're saying?
Like, look, he addressed it?
Or they done already remixed it to death anyway, so it had already ran its course.
Nah, we was getting them jokes off. Like a few days before that, Metro Boomin was at a Cardinals game playing the BBL Drizzy.
Yep,
that was
he did
going
it throughout the first pitch.
Yep.
Everybody was going crazy. The second Drake drops it, a discussion happened for 24, 48 hours about him flipping. He tried to change the definition of BBL Drizzy. That's not, we were talking about Drake. We're not talking about you buying BBLs. We were talking about you. That's not what we was talking about.
Yo,
but, hey,
Eddie, you making this worse, bro. I really tried to move past
I wasn't even
bro.
trying to deep dive into it like this, but like.
But think about it. Like, he acknowledged the conversation was happening. He didn't act like he was too big for it. He put it on there. He's getting paid because, the way Metro dropped it, there was no, no one gets paid for that. Like, it was some internet shit. So now Drake's getting paid off of something he was getting made fun of off. He tried to change the definition. That didn't work. I think
so is Metro. Because Metro had to clear the beat.
Didn't Metro just kind of put it out there for everybody? And Metro
but to be actually used on something that's for sale, which would be Sexyy Red's album.
You had to get clearance for it.
You would have had to get clearance because now you're selling it.
Well, look, bro, he killed the joke. Like, he killed the joke.
And you giving him a win for that. That's a W.
I'm giving him a win for that.
Bro, you gave us about 2.5 to 3 minutes of a thesis over a whack-ass verse.
We get paid to talk about a lot worse.
No, I'm just saying, but the verse is just whack. Like, fuck all the semantics behind it, fuck all the logistics and jumping the shark and getting on the joke and this, that, and the verse was fucking whack. Just like this, let's keep it a buck.
But now let's walk down this path since, listen, bruh, I want to apologize to the Drake fans. I know this is like pulling teeth for y'all. Nails on a chalkboard, all that. I didn't plan to spend this much time on it.
We didn't.
But to Eddie's point, if we walk down that path, this kind of puts, if Eddie's right, it puts kind of a cap or sealant, if you will, on you know, the whole BBL Drizzy and the whole kind of convo, blah, 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 blah. And now Drake could just go out and put something out because this is kind of like a done deal.
No. Regardless if you want to jump the shark or not, regardless if you want to acknowledge that, yeah, I got made fun of, then I used the beat to make fun of myself. We still gonna get these jokes off. And the verse was ass.
And he's saying the internet's done.
The internet is
Y'all
never
tell us, is the internet done with BBL Drizzy?
The internet is never done. And Eddie, you know that.
I ain't seen one BBL Drizzy jokes, and we've been running them shits for 3 weeks straight.
Now what you have seen,
one in the last 4
I'll tell you what you have seen is more parties playing Kendrick Not Like Us. That ain't done.
Listen, I was at the LA Fair this weekend, and it was like on repeat at the fair, fam. I'm on Ferris wheels. And that
it ain't done till that record dies out. And that record is not dying out no time soon. So it's BBL Drizzy, the pedophile shit, the allegedly, but Drake still is underwater.
Y'all relentless. Y'all think it's me. It's not me.
I'm just keeping it a buck. The internet don't forget shit. It's not us.
Well, back to Sexyy Red. Her new project is out. On the Sexyy Red topic, I see a lot of Sexyy Red has become this very divisive figure. Not only the Trump endorsement and the massa hats and twerking on stage with country artists and all of the ratchet behavior, et cetera, she's become a thing. But do you guys think people can appreciate Sexyy Red for what it is, or do people take Sexyy Red too serious? Because for me, it's just like ratchet, fun, ignorant music. Like, that's the only point of it. But I guess some people are really set off by the level of ignorance. Eddie?
So here's the thing, bro. Like, I love hip hop. I love the culture. I love it. And there's many forms of it, right? And just because it's hip hop don't mean it's for me, right? From the second Sexyy Red drop, like Pound Town and all that, none of her music's for me. And that's okay. Like, and I don't gotta pretend. Like, people think because we sit here on these platforms and we talk about music.
You don't see yourself as a bad bitch.
That is just, and that's fine. Like, I don't get mad. Actually,
sorry, I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it.
But yeah, it's just, and it's cool. Like,
you don't see yourself on stage with her twerking like two bad bitches.
Nah, not at all.
I ain't never. No, that ain't my get down.
You don't like that?
Nah, but
sorry, my bad.
There is a place for it. It ain't a place for me. But the only issue I do have, like, be ignorant. Be what you are. Like, I've been young once. I've done ignorant stuff. I'm not above being ignorant at some point. I'm older now, so I don't do it. The political stuff is when I have issues. It's like, come on, fam. Like, bruh, like, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and yet again, everybody can voice their opinion. So I'm being a bit of a hypocrite when I say that. But
trust me, if somebody's voting opinion was changed because of Sexyy Red's antics, they likely weren't voting too seriously in the first place. Right. It's the same with Chef G and Sleepy Hollow showing up in the South Bronx with Trump. Like, listen, they trying to look. They just got out. They working with their PO. They trying to impress the judge. You know what I'm saying? They try, what is it? The Thin Blue Line, Blue Lives Matter crowd. They trying to get in line and make sure they get pardons and all that, bro.
That ain't about nothing.
You know what I'm saying? That's all. That's hustling.
I mean, for Sexyy Red, for me, it's just like, I see the reactions when I'm out. I see how people respond to her music when I'm out. So it's like, I get it. I understand it. Like you said, it's not for me. It's never gonna be for me. It was never intended for me. But there's a sector in hip hop that just loves that shit where.
Yo, look, if you're in a strip club or in a club and it goes on, it rings off. Like, it's good for that.
Yeah.
It's good for the club. You know what I'm saying? Some people love it for workout music. You know what I'm saying? It has its place in the kind of ecosystem of hip hop and entertainment. There's been stupid shit before. Like we're not, like...
I like some of the stupid shit, too.
All the way going back to That's Just My Baby Daddy. Who that is? You know, all that.
Nelly, put it in my mouth. I was with it. Like, yeah.
Put it in my mouth was lyrics.
Pause.
That's the name of the you right. That's the name of the song. You right.
Okay. Ayo, you hitting it with an Ayo?
It's crazy.
Akinelli?
I'm just saying. You could just say
Akinelli. But anyway, other albums we need to shout out, more importantly, Vince Staples is the bro, and he got a fire project out, Dark Times. Also the homie Shensia. If you need some reggae music in your life, some R&B from the Caribbean gal, Shenseea got some fire. Juicy J, the legend, put out an album. Coi Leray put out an EP. Cash Cobain, we talked about that with J. Cole. Quavo put out a single, Don Toliver. And we got to shout out Central C and Lil Baby. A lot of singles dropped this week. Now, the 100 best on Apple Music.
Ooh, people was mad at y'all.
Wait, y'all.
You was on the committee. What the fuck?
I'm not gonna lie.
You voted.
I'm not gonna lie. I had to delete a tweet. They started coming at me. I was like, look, man, I don't
what
want
you
none
run
of this
from
smoke.
it for?
I deleted it.
You broke down the whole process on Twitter.
No, I took
did. I saw
Ebro's tweet. I took Ebro's tweet and broke down the whole process and deleted my old tweet because I wasn't having y'all mad at me.
So look, I want to say this for the audience. And this is all I've been doing, right? Because one of the key in the understanding the 100 best, and shout out to Jermaine Dupri, I'm glad everybody's passionate about it. He said we disrespected R&B in the process, whatever.
He called me about that too.
What'd he say?
He not to say too much, but just was wondering about the placement of Confessions.
Confessions was way off.
Hey, bruh.
I had a 2-hour argument about that shit last night.
Confessions was way off.
That was my biggest issue with our list. That was my biggest issue.
Yeah, Confessions was.
96?
Well, I had a problem with Confessions. I had a problem with the fact that Michael Jackson didn't have 2 projects on there.
Yeah,
I had a problem with the fact that Kanye West didn't have more than 1 project on there. Like, if we being honest, I don't care how you feel about Kanye now, and I think that has something to do with like people's voting, like how they feel about Kanye now, like real talk.
I had a problem that Jay didn't have 2 on there.
I could go there with you too.
You know another one of mine was.
I had a problem that Mariah wasn't on there.
It's Dark and Hell is Hot didn't make it. That kind of.
Yeah, no DMX.
Yeah, no DMX.
But I think the problem you run into when you're having these conversations are what other genre album are these going to eclipse the ones we're talking about, right? Because this is not just a hip hop and R&B list.
And that's the thing. I was having a conversation with my man Kyle last night, and he was naming like so many like hip hop albums, R&B albums. I'm like, well, that holds close to you, right? So out of all the other genres, there's gonna be albums that hold close to them.
Well, not only that, but when we voted,
it's not.
Right, but when we voted, we were asked to pick from all genres, all albums, not our favorites. So there were things I didn't pick just because it didn't really hold weight to the fact that, like, if I ask myself, what's this album actually about?
Yeah.
If I can't answer that, it's just a collection of songs, I didn't pick that album. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the album actually about? What does it stand for? What does it mean?
I think that was your point about Life After Death.
Yeah, like Life After Death, I love. I love Life After Death more than I love Ready to Die.
But what's it about?
But what's Life After Death? It's just a bunch of songs that was put together, and a lot of it was done posthumously.
Right. So when you come back to the process of bodies of work, and where does it sit?
But that's also why Confessions is too low. Here's Jermaine Dupri on TMZ.
I know that you feel this list is a little slighted. It's a bit slight for people in R&B.
Yeah. I feel like it's disrespectful. I'm not even gonna use the word slight. It's disrespectful to the genre of R&B because every artist from my era, I would say from '92 till now, the things that we listen to, for me, even as a producer, to get songwriter, to get to who I am, none of those people are represented on this list. Diana Ross is not on this list. TLC is not on this list. My great friend Mariah Carey, she's not on the list. I could go on and on. We're not even talking about me. I'm just saying the genre of R&B seems like it was very much left off this list.
So these lists to me, I don't know how you feel, they seem just ridiculous to me.
The foresight of the list is that this is Apple Music. People go to Apple Music and then they fall into a rabbit hole, and just start discovering music, right? This list, to me, is almost a disabled rabbit hole because it doesn't allow you to start the journey of finding out about the musical talent that came prior to the people that you listen to in modern day.
I feel like it's done intentionally. It's more done to generate conversation and to really jab at people than to say this is actually the top 100.
We are in a generation where kids only listen to their phone, they pay attention to what's actually happening. And to me, Apple Music is too important to paint the same narrative that Little Richard was saying before he passed away, that people were disrespecting R&B music.
Well, Jermaine, We don't necessarily disagree with you, bro.
Not at all.
I think the question we gotta ask, part of the indictment becomes, how far are these R&B albums reaching? Because an R&B album like SOS, SZA is up here, which has a lot of reach. Erykah Baduism is up here. D'Angelo is up here. Prince, Sign of the Times is up here. Stevie got two. He got Intervisions and Songs in the Key of Life. Janet Jackson, Control. Aretha Franklin's up here. Beyonce got two up here. Marvin Gaye's up here. Blonde, like we said, Frank Ocean. Thriller's up here. And the other part is, I can't tell, I know it's a ranking, right? And it's based on voting. But if you're talking about 100 albums, all music, all time, I can't tell you the difference between 80 and 20. Like when you're ranking it. Like you're in the top 100 all music, all time. Mary J's up here. Solange is up here, which people had a problem with Solange being higher than Usher Confessions. Some people liked it, some people didn't.
What's the indictment on R&B?
I think he's talking about specifically, like he said, since he's been here, 90s R&B. But I would challenge everybody, what album? What album we talking about? And when you say Mariah, what Mariah album? When you say TLC, what is it? The TLC album with Waterfalls on it, or Ooh on the TLC tip? What you talking about?
You know what though? Jermaine Dupri should feel this way.
Of course.
He's valid in his feelings.
Yeah.
And there's things I can disagree with about on the list. There's things about representation I can disagree with on the list. Like this list doesn't reflect me. This list doesn't reflect Jermaine Dupri. Jermaine Dupri's done more for music than all three of us combined. We acknowledge him. He's an icon of music. This is his right. He should feel this way. I am not defensive that Jermaine Dupri feels this way about this list. You should be a steward of music, Jermaine Dupri. Go out there, champion R&B, champion Atlanta music, champion hip hop. Look, Jermaine Dupri, if you hate the list, good. You and some other people from that scene, you make your own list. And I'll watch it and I'll be engaged and I will root that on, man. Do your thing, baby boy.
Yeah, I don't think it's about being defensive as much as it's just about, I think, people understanding that certain things reached beyond the genre they were intended for and some things didn't.
Right.
And the things that did, I think, are represented on this list. But like I said, I don't disagree with Jermaine.
And the things that didn't transcend or...
Listen, I don't know what's at 101. And what's the difference between 100, what landed at 105 and what's at 99?
Nothing.
I don't see it.
That's the difference. The emotional connection to the visibility of it.
So I got a question for you. That's non-hip hop related then. Because we had to pick things that weren't, and I tried not to just pick hip hop and R&B. That's my sweet spot. Was there anything that you picked that wasn't hip hop and R&B that didn't make the list where you're like, damn, I picked another genre and that didn't even make it? I'll tell you mine while you stalling. I picked No Doubt Tragic Kingdom. That didn't make it. And I picked Katy Perry's Teenage Dream because I don't feel like there was like enough pop.
Wait, all right, so you're saying you don't feel like there's enough pop, or do you feel like that album belongs?
I picked...
those are two different things.
I picked, trying to remember my list.
No, I'm saying, like, are you picking those records because it's not enough pop or whatever, or you feel like those records are in that conversation?
I think so. R&B, hip hop, my sweet spot. But every now and then, records, albums, genres kind of seep over there where I'm like, yo, that was a moment. Like, that was a thing.
Right.
And something like No Doubt Tragic Kingdom for me was like, yo, that shit was so big that I can't just vote all hip hop and R&B on this. I'm voting for Tragic Kingdom, and Tragic Kingdom didn't even make it. And I was like, wow, okay, that's am I tripping, or was that not a moment? You know what I'm saying? Or
well, shit, I picked in R&B and Off the Wall didn't make it, so. And I picked Off the Wall, and I didn't pick Thriller.
I picked Thriller number one because Thriller is the archetype. Like when people use Thriller as a metaphor for their album. Like when motherfuckers be like,
That's my Thriller.
It's my Thriller.
Yeah, like.
But then I would say this, and this also goes back to like people, I feel like we're programmed to believe that Thriller is the greatest of all time because of the sales and because it's the first blockbuster album ever. Like that's the first blockbuster, stop everything, everyone's buying this album that I think in like mainstream consumption of music.
You would say like that's the pinnacle of
that is the
like
the
China,
one.
India, black people.
Like no,
white
that's
people,
it. That's the first
Brazil.
blockbuster album.
So
that's
is
like,
it because
if there was an internet, it's broken. You know what I'm saying? Like it took over everything. But the challenge I ask Thriller fans is, what is Thriller actually about? And what does it mean other than just a blockbuster, phenomenal, amazing album? And that's enough for most, but for this exercise, we were asked to do something else because the 100 Best exercise was, yes, it's a list, but it's also an exercise in trying to identify projects that are more than just collections of amazing songs, that actually try to stand for something. I'm not saying we achieved that in this exercise, because I know what Astroworld's supposed to be about, but I can't tell you that all the songs tie into the title. You know what I'm saying? Same with Thriller, for that matter. Like, Thriller's amazing, but there's one song on there that's a Halloween song. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
that's also the title of the album.
Okay, so then, all right, if you're gonna use that, how did it make number 2 then? If you're
because
saying,
I think people still voted because people is Thriller.
Because I ain't
but to your point, you're always saying like, what's this album about?
No, but that's why I don't believe that in our attempt to try to do this 100 Best list, those were the places where it didn't make sense. So then somebody would come along and go, okay, well then why Mariah Carey's whatever didn't make it, or why Whitney Houston didn't make it, or why this album didn't make it. You know what I'm saying? But this Michael Jackson one, which ain't about nothing but great music, is number 2.
That you talking to me. I'm the one that did it. Like, I'm the one that voted Thriller number 1. Because it's Thriller. That's why.
But what's it about?
Well, no, but to his point, that's what a lot of people did. They were just like, this is the album. That's how we've been programmed. This is that album. If you want to make a great album, dress up in a werewolf costume and dance with zombies in a movie theater.
What's that? Why you do that?
I'm just saying that did actually happen.
I know, but come on,
it's phenomenal. We all, I knew the whole video by heart. I'm just saying, but
that's what happened.
But that song has nothing to do with. What is that? What are we doing?
Nothing.
Vincent Price. That's what we doing. That was the first like movie ass video.
I feel like this is like the most negative we've ever anyone's ever spoken about.
No, because when you really think about Thriller, what are we talking about? We're talking about great songs.
Yeah, we're not talking about like an actual story concept or.
What are we saying?
We're just
dancing. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's Thriller.
Literally.
It's Thriller.
What's it about?
And guess what? Off the Wall might be better.
What do you say?
Off the Wall's probably better, but it's Thriller.
Well, and that's why I voted for Off the Wall. Because Off the Wall, maybe I'm too close to it, but I knew what it was about. It was about getting off the wall and dancing and being in the clubs in New York City, and Michael Jackson coming of age in New York City and writing about love and heartbreak and dancing and clubbing, and that's what it was about. And that's fine.
But what's Thriller about?
It don't matter. It's Thriller. It don't matter.
Well, and by the way, it doesn't matter, which is why it's number 2 on the list.
That's why it's number 2.
But also on the 100 Best, while we running through it, there's, I think, 50% of this list is like hip hop and R&B records. You know what I'm saying? Which outside of hip hop, we see a lot of talk on social media, specifically the hip hop and R&B. But outside of this space, there's a whole world of people who are like, what the fuck is this?
And that goes to my point.
You know what I'm saying? Like rock, pop, jazz, Latin music. They're like, what
the fuck?
Or if I'm in anywhere around the world, you're like, okay, so this is a North American list that
doesn't pertain to us. So now imagine trying to do that shit with every genre of music,
right? Condensing
it to.
Well, that's why it's a exercise in the futile.
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna make anybody completely happy. It was fun. It was debating. It was hating. It was congratulating.
Yep.
And look, I rest very good at night knowing that the number 1 album picked was a black woman talking about black topics with black culture, rhyming, singing, and being a mom. I feel very good about that.
Yes.
So y'all can be mad all you want, but there's never been a rapper ever in the history of hip hop that has taken consciousness and blackness to that level, other than her, Bob Marley, Marvin Gaye, who else?
Wonder.
Stevie Wonder, who's top 10, right? Marvin Gaye, who's top 20, right? And Kendrick Lamar, who's also top 10.
Okay. I got a Kendrick question for you. So if excluding, because people debate about Lauryn Hill's Miseducation to Lauryn Hill, whether it's a hip hop album or not. It's a hip hop album. Boom. Let's just put it right there. Let's not argue about that.
The album is based in hip hop, yes.
So outside of that, Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City is the highest other hip hop album at number 7, I believe.
Yeah.
How do we feel about that?
That's fine because I feel like it's fine. As we move on in the culture, as we grow older, that's gonna be an album where you go back and that album cut through all the noise. That album cut through all the chaos of hip hop, the streaming era, all this other shit. It cut through all of that, right? From start to finish. What about the singles? What about him being, just a big pop star? Like that was a rapper's rapper that cut through, that made a cohesive body of work that now is helmed as one of the top 100 albums, not rap albums of all time. And as we go down 20, 30 years later, that's gonna be a benchmark in hip hop for that specific person.
I'll just briefly say it's recent history bias.
Higher than Illmatic, higher than Blueprint, higher than Reasonable Doubt.
Well, but I was also gonna say, but I could argue rightfully so, if I was really trying to argue. Good Kid, Mad City has the luxury of looking backwards to be as great as it is. Right? It's got the luxury of all the skits of a De La album or a Wu-Tang album or an NWA album. It's got all the skits. It's got the luxury of looking back at the musicality of the great musical hip-hop albums, whether that be The Roots or even The Chronic or even Doggy Style, where you have live instrumentation replaying samples, right? It has jazz musicians playing in the album, right? And then you have a cohesive story and a cohesive story arc of someone really painting vivid pictures. And it has the luxury of looking back on great lyricism, right? And characters and all of these things, right?
Storytelling.
All of that. So I think Lowe's right in saying when you move forward, it has luxuries that albums before it didn't necessarily have, which is the ability to experiment and then, right? Because you look back at, Illmatic, right? At the time, there was nothing like it, right? But it had the luxury of looking back on Rakim and BDP and the things, Gangstar and some of the things that came before it. Same thing with 36 Chambers, had the luxury of looking backwards. But as we go through our history and people are really trying to do the knowledge on this hip hop thing, which is why some people love Kendrick, is because he's really trying to uphold a legacy, right? While
building his own.
While building his own. So, listen, I think it's too high. It's recent history bias, but so it goes. I think you could play this album next to a lot of albums for people who aren't as close as we are, and that would be your real test, right? Like you play Good Kid, Mad City, and then play 36 Chambers. You play Good Kid, Mad City, then play Illmatic. Sonically, how does it feel? Or lyrically, how does it feel? And I think you could A/B test a lot of these things.
Those albums that you name are pretty parallel to a Good Kid, Mad City and how it feels and what it is and what it represents.
Listen, man, real talk, and nobody's talking about it. Ready to Die is higher than Illmatic. The Low End Theory is higher than Illmatic. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Kanye West, is higher than Illmatic. It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, Public Enemy, is higher than Illmatic. Enter the Wu-Tang Clan is higher than Illmatic. And you ask any hardcore hip-hop fan to rank those albums higher than Illmatic, they probably wouldn't do so. But that just goes to show you that the people voting for these albums were probably not hip-hop fans.
But then they could say that about a pop record. They could say that about a rock record. They could say that about a bunch of records on there. Like that's not my bag.
Some people is mad at Blueprint is higher than Illmatic.
Not me.
That's top 10.
I'm not. I love Blueprint.
Now the real talk was that Frank Ocean being in the top 10. That Blonde being top 10 sent people around the bend,
everywhere I go.
People was really upset.
So listen,
I didn't make it.
That's that recent history bias.
If there's
any example of recent history, yeah.
Okay, first of all, great album.
Phenomenal.
Great album.
Love it.
So this is like, so like
is it better than Channel Orange?
That's what I'm saying. Okay, so then here's my thing too.
And we know, arguably, and I don't give a fuck What y'all say? That shit ain't, none of that shit is better than Nostalgia Ultra.
So, okay, all fair.
But Nostalgia Ultra ain't even considered an album, so it couldn't even be in the convo. They call that a mixtape.
So all fair, right? So Channel Orange, people argue. I heard this a lot. Like Channel Orange is better. Like people were arguing that. This, going back to how we started this conversation, I think Blonde's a great album.
It is.
What number? What is it?
Not
What
top 10
what number
of all
was
time.
it?
Like I don't
It was-
give a fuck what y'all say.
It was like top 10.
No, Blonde was five, bro.
Okay, so Blonde was
Of
five.
all time.
So listen.
Y'all got
this
it
is my
wrong.
issue with Usher. This
Y'all
is my
got
issue
it
with
wrong.
Usher Confessions. How is Usher Confessions?
Deska, you got it wrong. Zane,
in
you
the
got
90s?
it wrong.
And then Blonde can be top 5. Look, bro, I love Solange.
Yo, I saw
love
tweets
Solange.
telling Tim Cook to turn in his badge. They was like, yo, Tim Cook got to turn in his badge. This list is out of line.
I'm like, Tim probably even made this list. Tim like, yo, why am I getting added? Like, what's this top 100 thing? Like,
Nah, there was
really
real talk. There was somebody tweeting Tim Cook, adding Tim Cook and adding me.
I saw that tweet.
And telling Tim to fire me because of the list.
Oh, they was coming for your helmet.
No, they
dog.
was,
Like,
yo.
no, I got called out a couple times. Like,
Listen,
yo.
No one came for me. It was all directed to Ebro. Like, Ebro, you were the face
Yo,
of the list.
you a coward for hiding, bro.
I
You
ain't
a
talking
coward
to
for
the
hiding.
internet, we're strangers.
You ain't even stick by your man. You voted with these, man. I didn't even vote, and I couldn't walk 1 inch without someone saying, yo, really? Blonde at top
People
5?
don't know me, and I like it like that.
Well, look, I will say this. This one thing that makes this list amazing is the fact that you could go in Apple Music, you could type in 100 Best, there's a whole space in there.
Mm-hmm.
You can listen to the radio shows, but unlike other lists, you can actually go listen to the albums that people are talking about and compare them for yourself. Because never before has there been able to make a list and then put all of the things we're talking about in the one
Compile
space.
all
It's
the
usually
albums,
it's in a magazine, it's on Instagram, it's wherever, boom, 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 and then you gotta go,
Find it, the
go
artist,
find it yourself.
But
Nah,
now
it's all right
in
there.
one space.
It's all right there. So
because we did that last night. Like we pulled the list up, then we started playing the albums, just like. But it was easily just boom, 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 boom. So,
and I gotta say, it was an honor to be able to present Miss Hill with love.
yeah.
I definitely felt it's interesting because it didn't really dawn on me that the only things that we kind of hear about Miss Lauryn Hill lately is negative.
Yeah. That was
Right, until I was giving her the award, and it was kind of like, you could kind of see a relief in her eyes a little bit, like she doesn't really get to celebrate the album. She doesn't really get to celebrate.
It's like she's always defending herself.
Yeah, it's always because there was issues around who wrote what and produced what, and there was like, and then the lateness to shows and all that. You could definitely see that she's not accustomed to.
So that probably made her
celebrated.
feel like, okay, like
I can let my guard down a little bit.
Outside of all the noise, this thing of mine that I created so long ago still means something to people like us and you, and that we kind of publicly recognized her for that beautiful body of work. And so congratulations, Lauryn Hill.
I want to say this too, because this is actually the tweet I deleted before everybody attacked me. I want to say I'm very proud of all the people that we work with, regardless of how people outside of Apple Music feel about this list. It takes a lot of people to compile this list, do the work that was done, the video stuff, the on-air stuff that Ebro and the team did, all our teams that make things like y'all see it and y'all argue. It takes months to make something like this happen.
You know how long we debated this, bro? We debated this joint 2 years, bro.
And that's what I was telling people. They were asking me how long they take to do this.
And not debating like what belongs where. Debating if we should even do it or not, because we knew this shit was gonna be
a thing.
Pitchforks and torches, and they was gonna be kicking in doors out here.
I mean, but that's the point. That's that any list that comes out provokes conversation. And that's the good thing about this list, that it provoked conversation. It made you go back and listen to these specific projects and even find more from those said artists. That's like, there's nothing negative that came out. Yeah, we talk about this shit every day, but yeah, that's the whole point. And you want to go listen to these moments and remember these times where that album came out, that song came out, that video came out, whatever the case is. And that's what this list does. It provokes you to remember.
And I know people don't want to hear this because it sounds like we're tooting our horn, but at the end of the day, it is a whole bunch of people that actually do care about music and care about the art.
Well, I don't care enough because y'all didn't put Confessions
None of this was
higher.
clickbait. We weren't trying to make y'all mad. Trust me, you weren't trying.
You don't care enough.
Matter.
You put Blonde at
There's
number
only
5.
one Drake album on the list.
You put Blonde at number 5 and,
You
and
don't
Confessions
care
at
about
95.
music.
You definitely trying to piss
the fuck
off.
out of here.
Fuck.
And that's Rap Life Review for Eddie and Low. I'm Ebro. See y'all next week.
What's good, Nadeska here. If you made it through that entire episode of the Rap Life Review, that means you're really a fan. Hit that like button so we know it's real. Subscribe if you never want to miss an episode. And of course, if you really have something to say, drop a comment and we'll hit you back on next week's episode.